Welcome! Today we'll be making my personal favorite soap, Lavender Oat Goat Milk Soap. Lots of people find that regular soaps dry out their skin, leaving them feeling itchy, but goat milk soap is gentle on sensitive skin and moisturizing as well. The lavender essential oils adds a wonderful aroma with a relaxing effect. Remember to keep your soap dry between uses to help your soap last longer. The ingredients for Lavender Oat Goat Milk Soap are olive oil, goat milk, coconut oil, lye, ground oat, and lavender essential oils. Measure 1/2 cup of gluten-free oats and blend them until they are almost a powder. Ground oats make a wonderful exfoliant and can be added to any soap mixture. I use gluten-free oats to help those people who may have celiac disease or other gluten issues to keep from having reactions on their skin. Measure 32 ounces of frozen goat milk. Set it aside and let it thaw a little. Measure 60 ounces of olive oil. Measure 30 ounces of coconut oil. To make my coconut oil easier to measure, I place it in a hot water bath for a few minutes to soften it. Melt the coconut oil on the stove. Mix the coconut oil with the olive oil. Set aside and let it cool. Lye is caustic and will burn skin with prolonged contact. From this point on, we'll want to wear protective eyewear, gloves, and long sleeves. Measure 12.8 ounces of lye. Some lye will also cause a powder to go into the air when pouring, so depending on the lye you use, you may need a face mask as well. Pour the lye slowly into the frozen goat milk. If we pour the lye too fast, it can clump together and not dissolve all the way, or it can overheat the milk and cause the sugars in the milk to burn, turning your mixture into a yellow, orange, or even brown color. From this point, your mixture will have a light ammonia scent. Make sure you are working in a well-ventilated area where children and pets cannot get near the soap mixture. Be sure all the lye crystals are dissolved. Once you can hear and feel that they are dissolved, then we can move to the next step. Pour the milk and lye mixture gently into the oil mixture. Using an immersion blender, blend the mixture until a condition called trace is reached. Trace is reached when the milk, lye, and oils are emulsified enough that they begin to react and thicken. You can recognize trace when you scrape your spatula on the mixture and you can see the traces of movement left behind. During this step, we will smell a heavy ammonia smell. We have reached trace. This is my favorite part, adding the essential oils. I add 70 drops of lavender essential oil, though you can add more or less if you need. Now we add the ground oats. These oats are a wonderful exfoliating addition to the soap. At this point, some people might get the idea to add dry lavender blossoms. If you mix lavender blossoms in this soap, they will turn brown in your final product. If you do want to add lavender blossoms to your soap, I recommend sprinkling them on the top of your poured soap. Now for an experiment. Many people who make soap make them in loaves instead of individual bars like I do. Here, I put together a makeshift loaf pan using a plastic grocery bag, a loaf baking dish, and tape. I pour the soap in, not quite until full. I use about 6 cups of soap. With the soap that I have left, I pour it into the other soap molds. Here are the bars right after pouring. I let them sit for 24 to 48 hours to begin curing, making sure to store them in a cool place away from children and pets. At this point, if you want, you can sprinkle lavender blossoms on the top of the soap. As a note, this loaf mold holds a large volume of soap with little surface area. This means it'll stay warmer longer. Not only that, but the lye continues to react in the mold, causing it to create more heat. My storage area is about 55 degrees, and this mold starts off at 100 degrees. Let's see if the loaf mold makes a difference in the formation of this soap compared to my individual bars. Some people buy loaf molds and loaf cutters that create bars of equal size. But since this is for an experiment, just a knife and cutting board are good enough for me. It has been 24 hours and the soap is ready to cut. As I flip the loaf mold over, you'll see the bottom is slightly yellow. This is a hint that the temperature of the loaf mold, as well as its inability to get rid of the heat fast, has changed the coloration, and maybe even the type of soap we get. Sometimes when soap is kept warm and insulated while curing, it goes into gel phase, which is just a different, glossier texture of soap. Getting to gel phase with goat milk soap, however, can make the soap turn brown. So far, I've been able to avoid making goat milk soap that has gone into gel phase, but the yellow at the bottom of this soap mold makes me wonder if this happened. As I slice through the soap, I can tell the color is more yellow than the outside of the soap. But I don't see any evidence that the bars have gone through gel phase. I do think, though, that because of the higher temperature in the loaf, the sugars in the milk may have scalded a little, making the loaf more yellow inside than in my smaller bars of soap. But thankfully, this tiny bit of yellowing doesn't affect the quality of the soap, which I plan on keeping for my family to use. When taking the soap out, remember that the soap is still very moldable and soft, so handle with care. Lavender goat milk soap should look milky white at this point. Let your soap dry on a drying rack in a cool place for 4 to 6 weeks to cure. Make sure to keep the soap bars from touching each other so that they can dry evenly. I hope you enjoy your lavender goat milk soap. Thanks for stopping by.